Are we ready?
Yeah. Do you know how to intro? You don't have Benny.
Welcome to Conspiracy Cast, hosted right here at the Tales of Earth channel, where we sit down and look up some of your favorite conspiracies and decide if we believe it, if we don't believe it, why would people believe it, and what the hell is going on with those lizard people. We sit here and chat about this live on twitch.tv/eligiblemonster every Monday at about 2 p.m. Eastern, where you can watch the show live, or you can directly support us by subscribing to the channel or picking up our new merch, including a Cthulhu shirt and the I love the Illuminati shirt, both of which are on our merch store, which the link to is down below. You can also directly support us by going to our patreon.com/comicstorian page, where we share this with multiple channels, and you get access to all of those podcasts at once. Today's hosts are going to be Gary, known as Gary Cox, known as Lord Cox, known as Gary Hulk, Andrew, also known as Randall, and Benny.
He meant Dan.
Dan, also known as Dan T Streamer.
Yeah.
That was the best intro.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
I really hope the mic picked it up properly.
Oh, me too.
I was
my
laughing too
God.
hard for it to register. Check that. That was too good. That was too.
All right. What do you guys know about cryptozoology?
I know a little bit because I've been doing a bunch of scripts for him. Tales of Earth.
Yeah.
I finished Bigfoot
Like
this
what?
morning.
Like okay, so Bigfoot. What else?
Bigfoot, Jersey Devil, Chupacabra, Loch
Okay.
Ness Monster.
Yes.
Although I don't know
Mothman.
if
Yes.
technically the Loch Ness Monster falls.
It does.
Does? Okay.
It does. Yeah. So cryptozoology is, according to Wikipedia, and yes, we are going to cite Wikipedia because it's
You can try the strategy that I did
What's that?
in college, where you just look for the first
Right, right.
annotation
Yeah.
and then use their citations.
Yep. So cryptozoology is a
you go.
pseudoscience and subculture that aims to prove the existence of entities from the folklore record, such as Bigfoot, the Chupacabra. This is one I've actually never heard of. Mokele Mbembe.
I don't know, but your pronunciation was on point.
Yes.
It's a new
Cryptozoologists.
video for you to do, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, send me that link.
Yeah. Give
We're
that
gonna-
one to Benny.
Yes, I was going to say, we're going to give it to Benny and have Dylan leave in all the mistakes.
I like it.
Cryptozoologists refer to these entities as cryptids, a term coined by the subculture. Because it does
which
not follow
subculture?
yes, of cryptozoologists.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't believe you can actually get a degree in cryptozoology. I don't believe so. So you
Well,
can just
not from
claim
a-
to be a cryptozoologist. Guys,
I am
we are
officially.
cryptozoologists.
Actually, you kind of are.
I kind of
Yeah.
am now.
You know stuff about them.
Because it does not follow the scientific method. I love that. Cryptozoology is considered a pseudoscience by the academic world. It is neither a branch of zoology nor folkloristics. It was originally founded in the 1950s by zoologists Bernard Heuvelmans and Ivan T. Sanderson.
Thank you.
Thank you for a normal last
We're
name.
gonna
What?
we're gonna do a video just on cryptozoology, just to make Ben pronounce all that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Give him like the most obscure names.
Yeah,
It's like, why can't I like cover Chupacabra? It's like, no, you need to cover all the African.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, cryptids.
You know, we'll have a special Tales of Earth video where we just have a game show of who can pronounce it properly. And we'll just have all of us try and pronounce words.
I like that idea.
Because some of these
Yeah,
words are
absolutely.
so hard.
Oh, they are. Yeah. Well, especially when you get into a language that doesn't follow the same like phonetic structure
Yes. Right,
yeah,
as
yeah.
your own.
Yeah.
Your mouth, it literally is not designed to speak that language.
Or it's not used to speaking
It's
that
not used to
way.
speaking
Yeah,
it.
it's not, yeah.
Well, the human mouth actually changes shape based on your native language.
I could see that.
So in small ways, like the top of your mouth, your tongue.
Right, like your soft palate,
yes,
your hard palate
exactly.
having a bigger...
Which is why, like in Hungarian, there are certain words and phrases and sounds that they can make that Americans or people who speak English just can't because we didn't develop that palate, that specific shape. And I was in Hungary, and I actually remember talking to somebody trying to go over, I think it was the number one. Just like, how do you say one in Hungarian? And none of us could do it. And we thought we were doing it, and he was like, "You're not even close." Yeah. And they're like, we can't hear the difference,
Right, yeah,
but they
yeah.
could.
Right.
So anyway,
That's actually kind of cool.
yeah. So we are going to talk about the Loch Ness Monster specifically today. Before we get into this, what do you guys know about the Loch Ness Monster?
That it's named Nessie.
I did a bunch of research on it literally this morning.
Great.
So,
What do you know about the Loch Ness Monster?
so I know the first official reported sighting was in 1933. Somebody saw it
supposedly running across the road.
Running.
Yes.
Running
I
across
was
the
not
road.
aware of
I
that.
Well, it
actually
was
have
like-
not heard that.
Yeah, it's like
Waddling?
waddling. Yeah, pulling itself. Yeah,
Regardless,
yeah.
it was
moving,
crossing
the road.
Yeah, moving on land, and I did not.
There's a whole new set of jokes there. Why did Nessie cross the
Yeah.
road? To get to the loch.
Okay. The first official, I guess it's not really a report of a monster within the loch, however, is from a, it's like some church tome from like the 600 AD.
Interesting.
That mentions some creature
Right.
within the loch itself. Yeah, which I thought was actually kind of
That's
interesting.
actually-
But then most people are like, nah, it's just like religious folklore kind of
Right,
thing.
right,
You know,
right, yeah.
Use it as a parable kind of thing.
Plus, back then,
Yeah.
anything
was
could
a
be
monster.
considered
Well,
a
yeah,
monster. If it was large and they
I
didn't
mean-
know what it was.
Yes, to an extent. Yeah. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that even if we discover the real Loch Ness monster, ultimately it'll
It's
go
probably
from
just a creature.
It's just
Yeah,
a
yeah.
creature. Yeah, it becomes something goes from legendary or like legend to just scientific fact. It becomes just
Yeah.
another animal once we actually understand it and can look at it.
I mean, there was a time when people didn't believe in dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, some
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
still don't.
That's true.
So people, still. Anyway,
Actually, it's kind of funny that you say that because there's a good chance that we could find the Loch Ness monster, but they would go, well, no, it's actually this. And the myth of the Loch Ness monster
still
will
live.
continue because they'll be like, well, no, it can't be that. It was this.
Well,
So-
some
Yes.
people, there's still people that believe it's a certain type of dinosaur. I think it's like a
Platysaurus.
yes,
Platysaurus.
that somehow survived. You know,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
I mean, it was underwater when the meteor hit. So
right, yeah, so it's
obviously,
fine, yeah.
you're fine.
Yeah, it's-
Just go into a pool
Yeah, seriously,
when a bomb
guys.
goes
Haven't you ever
off,
seen
essentially.
like Die Hard or any movie where there's an explosion and somebody dives into a pool?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, there have been numerous sightings. Now, most of the sightings have been, you know, like the pictures, they're
Right,
hoaxes,
right.
the footage
Yeah.
is hoaxes, that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, so that's basically what I know about it, is that they still don't know what it is. But
Yeah.
there are still
Right.
people who hunt for it to this day.
Yeah. And then every image we have of Loch Ness monster is blurry
Yes.
and shaky, just
Here's
like
my-
just like UFOs.
Here's my
and
theory, though.
Focus.
What?
Here's my theory: is that Loch Ness is just blurry.
Blurry.
Yeah,
It's just like a blurry creature.
It's just a naturally blurred.
Just naturally blurry.
Yeah, so are
creature.
UFOs and Bigfoot. They're just blurry.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. There's numerous creatures throughout, like that
Yeah.
we know of, that
Right.
they have a form of natural camouflage. Maybe that's Nessie's.
Blurry.
Her
Blurry.
color palette is like
Yeah.
very blurry. looking.
My theory is that they're actually they're phasing between.
natural blur.
Yeah, my theory is that they're phasing between dimensions.
Ooh,
That Nessie is actually interdimensional, and we can, which is why we can't find her all the time,
interesting.
or him.
I think that Nessie is a lizard person.
Sure.
That just when they go to bathe, they become a monster. That's why they have to use a giant lake.
Oh, so they're like the little
Scottish
They're like the little
lizard.
sponge. They're like the little sponge things that we put water on. They,
exactly.
and then
Just
and
add
then they-
water.
Just add water. Yeah.
Oddly enough, there are some who believe that the Loch Ness monster myth came from, and I'm going to pronounce, I think it's called a Calio. It's an old Scottish myth of basically water horses that can change shape to become human.
Huh.
So it's like a water spirit, or
Yeah.
not a demon, but like a
Right.
like a fairy or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
something like
Right.
that. So that
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's the
Oh,
Little
I know what you're talking
Mermaid,
about. I know what you're
except
talking
they
about.
can do it voluntarily.
Oh,
I think it was Calio. I read a bunch of stuff this
they-
morning, and I usually
Right.
brain dump when I'm not writing. Oh, honestly.
You're like
talking.
information on paper and
then I'm done with it. Yeah.
They made an animated movie about that. It's called Song of the Sea. It's an Irish film.
I like how we tangent, but our tangents are on point. Or
Right.
Like on
Yes.
topic.
But keep talking. I'm gonna find this.
actually
Saoirse,
looks kinda
Saoirse, no, Saoirse is the girl's name. Oh, what is it called? They say it in the movie like 100 times what that creature is called. Yeah, and I can't find
Yeah.
it.
I don't know. It's something with a K.
Um,
It's like KLE something.
Right.
Cleo, Calesso, something like that.
Yep.
Anyway,
Anyway.
basically like mer people.
yeah, mer people.
Yeah, basically.
It's Ariel if she could do it without Ursula's help.
And she became the Loch Ness monster.
And she became the Loch Ness monster. Did you not watch the same movie I did?
don't think I did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Little
yeah,
Mermaid.
yeah, yeah.
It's there's
This
actually
guy falls in love
there's
with,
a
like,
second
a
one.
old-
It's Little Nessie. she goes and gets
Little
turned
Nessie.
into a human.
Little messy. I'd watch that movie.
I would
Selkie.
too.
Are they called Selkies?
We see the word? You see it?
A sulky?
Yeah. In Scottish mythology,
yeah,
Selkie,
yeah.
Selkies are folk meaning sea folk are mythological beings capable of therianthropy,
seal folk.
changing from seal to human form by shedding their skin. That's not how they portrayed it in the movie, but it is a child's movie. So
Right.
they are found in folktales and mythology originating from Orkney and Shetland. Selkies.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, in the movie they just kind
more
of
you know.
magically like change.
Because knowledge is power.
Yeah.
half
Knowledge.
the battle.
Yeah.
The other half involves bullets.
That's true. Albert Einstein said that.
I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
No, I think it was Sun Tzu.
Sun Tzu, yeah. Okay, so the history, that's fine. We're still on point, actually. This comes from Historic UK, the history of the Loch Ness Monster. A lot of this is going to be what you've already talked about. Okay. The Great Glen in Scottish Highlands is a rift valley 60 miles long and contains 3 famous lochs. Lochy, that's nice.
That's one of the.
Yes, that's actually what it's called.
Lock. Locky.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah.
been
Oik,
drinking.
I think it's Oik and Ness. The most famous of these is Loch Ness because of the monster said to lurk. And I like how they put lurk in quotations. And it's deep waters. It is deeper than the North Sea and is very long and very, very narrow and has never been known to freeze.
I'm just laughing because imagine if one of those other lakes had the monster of Locky Monster.
Well, it's easy to call her Locky.
Locky, good old Locky.
Yeah. The first recorded account is of an eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation with the Irish saint Saint Columba in the 6th century. Saint Columba, so the story goes, ordered one of his monks to swim across the loch and fetch a boat. That's mean.
You can't walk around.
When they do it, like when they're talking about historically, and they're like, and then he did it as a test, but you know, in real life, he was drinking like sacramental wine, and he was like, yeah,
You're getting into the sacramental wine again.
They were all there and they're like, nose goes.
Those guys.
you guys got me.
Halfway across, the monster appeared and rushed at the swimmer, roaring in a most frightening way. Who wrote this?
As a monster would do.
Columba
I'm
cried.
assuming it sounded just like that.
I like this. Columba, the guy who made the person swim across the
Yes.
lake.
God.
Okay. Columba cried out to the monster,
Yes.
"Go no further, nor touch the man. Go back." The monster is said to have
Also
fled.
drunk.
Yeah. Go no further.
They left
that's-
out when he threw
yeah.
the bottle at him.
And his shoe, his sandal. Leave him alone. Since then, Nessie's like, I just wanted to say hi.
If this was America, he would have
yeah.
gotten shot.
You know, the monk was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's like literally praying. Since then, Nessie has been seen many times, but has never harmed anyone. Sightings have been sporadic over the centuries, but the 20th century Nessie has been more active, which has had a profound effect on local business. Now, as a side note, I do want to point out that it is not uncommon for sea-dwelling creatures to be very, very, very old.
I can see. I mean,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
technically evolved
turtles,
from-
Yes,
whales,
exactly.
Like, oh, yeah, they
Yeah.
all do get very old.
Oldest
I could see that.
animal.
I mean, it would make sense. We evolved from creatures that were in the ocean, and you got to be alive for a very long time to properly evolve and adapt. Clearly,
Now the X-Men do it in like 3 movies.
Yeah.
ruin it. I did not see Dark
not-
Phoenix.
It's not good.
Yeah, that's what I heard, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna preserve my memory. What if
The immortal
hold up,
jellyfish.
Nessie is a mutant?
Ah.
Nessie is a mutant.
Nessie is a mutant. It
Who
was
found
a creature.
safety in
He hit puberty, and that's when he walked across the road. He was like, I need water. Ah, this is nice.
I'm trying to find the oldest living vertebrate. I think it's something like 500 years.
That's an old ass vertebrate. I said,
I
I
know.
said bird. and that wasn't
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Oh, the Greenland shark. That's
Oh,
right.
I do remember
Greenland
that. Yeah,
shark
yeah,
is the oldest living vertebrate
wow.
and could be 512 years old.
Damn.
So, who's to say that Nessie isn't older?
Yeah,
by quite a lot, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, 600 AD or CE or whatever you want to call it now. Yeah, that's quite old. All right. 1933 was the year when the first photograph of the monster, or what is said to be the monster, it showed something with a long neck arched over a thick body. This photograph, taken by a London surgeon, caused a sensation when first published in the Daily Mail. Now, what's 1933. So just an average Joe's camera is probably not going to be the highest quality.
No.
They actually had to wait for the flash to go off. They were like, here's the powder.
Yeah.
Right, stay still.
It's like the camera that he got in college, It's like, I don't know. The circus owner Bertram Mills, who was traveling via the loch on his way to Inverness, offered a $20,000 pound reward, the equivalent of $2 million today, to anyone who could capture the monster for his circus. That's sick. But so far, no one has claimed the reward. It still stands. The reward is still standing.
Now, and I'm like, hey, where's that $2 million?
You thought that Greenland shark was old. This guy, he's still hoping for his circus. He will not rest until he
Old
has
guy in a
Nessie.
circus, like someday.
Someday. So far, no one has claimed the reward. It could be said that Mills was quite the entrepreneur, since the reward brought many flocking to the loch, and both sightings and ticket sales to the nearby circus were
You gotta
on
flock to the loch.
the rise. You're going to start a band, aren't you? That's what it's going to be called. Flock to the loch. Yeah. Why did I do that? The fact that the circus
okay with
animals
it.
were
I'm okay
fed
with
and watered on the banks of the loch, and that the head and neck of the monster closely resembled an elephant's trunk. Yes, a swimming elephant underwater.
However,
was
that would be how they
perhaps
breathe.
unsurprisingly not made common knowledge.
Now, some people have stated that this is so the circus was in town, and
Right.
they were known to let the elephants swim in the loch.
I could actually.
So
okay.
actually, like based off of because obviously everyone's like, oh, it's probably this, there's probably that. Well,
Yeah.
obviously, there's no actual proof of what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Very unlikely that it is actually the Loch Ness. One of the theories is that it was actually
An elephant.
an elephant swimming. So this would be like the top of its head,
Right.
Or
And
its
that was
ears floating
or
up.
its ears floating up, and that was its trunk as it was.
I can see it.
Along
Yeah.
the bottom
I
of the loch.
absolutely, yeah.
Let's
I can
put
see
an
it.
elephant in the loch.
There's only one way to
See
prove
if
this
we can
theory.
replicate
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll have to hunt down the same camera
Yep.
that the guy used.
Exactly.
Take the same
We'll
photo.
give it to someone that can't hold, like, stay
Yes.
still.
I
got this.
Focus the lens. I don't know what that means.
Perfect.
Perfect. In 1951, Lachlan Stewart, a forestry worker who lived beside the loch, also managed to photograph the monster. If that is indeed what it was, he saw 3 humps in the water appear in line and ran back to his house to get his camera.
I love your little giggle.
Yeah.
After taking one photograph, his camera shutter jammed, but his photograph got wide publicity as further proof of the existence of Nessie.
Is that a picture? Oh, is that just
No,
a
no,
picture
no,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
lake?
Just a picture of the
That's
loch.
just a picture of the loch,
Of
yeah.
the
It's not a
loch.
lake.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It's a loch.
I'm
It's
sorry.
a loch.
I do apologize. To all of
By the
our
way,
loch
your,
fans.
your band should be called the Flock of the Loch.
The loch flock.
The Loch Flock.
The loch flock.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interest in Nessie became intense. Ooh, so intense. Over the years, several scientific investigations have taken place. In 1961, the Loch Ness Phenomena Investigation Bureau, the NPIB, was formed, and even
ever
2
popular.
submarines have been brought into the search with sonar experts on board. Why did you use an exclamation point? On board! When the submarine Pisces was diving off Castle Urquhart, where the water is 950 feet deep, a vast underwater cavern was found. Was this Nessie's home? So what we've established so far is that some sea creatures can live to be very, very old.
Yes.
Very, very old.
That Nessie is probably just blurry.
Yes.
That there
Natural
are
camouflage,
yeah.
underwater caverns.
Yes.
In Ness. And the if you've ever seen a picture of Loch Ness, it is massive.
Yes, it is
Yeah.
actually
It's
huge
huge.
and very deep. And,
Oh,
there,
yes.
and there are the underwater caverns, which
Yes.
most people are like, well, that's probably where, if it is
Nessie-
a,
yeah, right,
a prehistoric
right.
creature, that's
Yeah.
probably where it was trapped
Yes.
until
Yeah.
it eventually
Right.
managed to break free. Yeah.
Or just that's just where it like hibernates or
yeah.
something. Not that underwater creatures
Can
hibernate
dig
necessarily.
through ground. That's what all
She's got a
underwater
drill
caverns
nose.
are. There are actually multiple of these, but they
Yeah.
didn't have a big enough lock. Sorry.
So it's like her.
I know,
It's
I
like her nest almost.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
she just
Her
makes
nesty.
just makes them nest. Yes. All right. In 1970, I ordered a bunch of bubble wrap. Yeah. In 1970, I was going to say something really obscure, and nobody was going to get it.
So, like any other
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not. It'll anyway. In 1975, 4 firemen from Hemel. Okay, it looked like an R and an N next to each other, but it's an M. From Hemel, Hempstead decided that the monster must be a male, as all monsters usually are. What? That's sexist.
I disagree because most monsters are women, or most women are monsters.
Wow. So they built a 309-foot long paper mache lady monster
kid.
to attract
Oh my God.
Mr. Nessie.
Hold on. They built a lady monster.
Yes.
How anatomically correct did they get this
I don't
lady
know.
monster?
What if you have Nessie swing by going, that's not accurate?
It was
And
actually exactly what they want, but they put lipstick on it.
This sounds, I was going to say, this sounds like a cartoon.
It does.
They're like, we got
No,
to
seriously.
lure the male
In-
monster in. We gotta
This is
make a female
in
monster.
1975. 4 firemen from Hempstead decided that the monster must be a male. How do you come to that conclusion?
I can tell you, a lot of alcohol.
A lot of alcohol.
There's obviously it's a dude.
Scottish firemen, yeah. It's
He's swimming on its back. Clearly, it's a
Clearly,
dude.
look at it. You
Clearly
can
it's
see it
a-
from over here.
that's not its neck.
It's not its neck coming out of water, is it? All right.
Oh man,
Well played.
can't wait for 3 beers on a topic.
I know.
Okay,
start
so
doing that before this.
yes,
3 beers
so
on a day
they
of
built.
podcasting.
This is an effort, might I add.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, this wasn't like, hey, let's just throw together a monster.
Doesn't paper mache like break up in water?
Yes.
All right, so you only have a certain amount
So
of time
they-
where you got to
so
get
they-
Nessie's attention.
4 firemen from Hemel Hempstead polluted the loch with a paper mache. I can imagine their chief is like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Nothing."
Why firemen of all people?
Hey, listen, if there's no fires around, what are you going to be doing?
Oh man.
You keep
got
paper mache
got
nesting.
some free
It had, I love this. It had false eyelashes, full makeup, and gave out a pre-recorded mating call.
How did they know what the mating call sounded
I
like?
know, it's absurd. They were drinking.
They were definitely
They
drinking.
unfortunately got
Scottish,
the wrong call. It was
Yeah.
actually just insulting Nessie's mother.
Oh,
and it was like, I'm
man.
not getting near that.
Okay.
amazing.
Unfortunately, the mating call turned out to be that of a male walrus. So, not unsurprisingly, it didn't tempt Nessie.
However,
A male walrus.
4 male
male
walruses
walrus.
showed up.
They're just
Walruses? Walry?
Walrus? Walrus?
Anyway, move on.
However, the Loch Ness Monster is not as unique as it seems. Oh, wait, sorry. It didn't help either when the lady monster got damaged when set afloat on the water.
Man,
no way.
I wonder why.
Her behind, and that's actually what it says,
In quotes.
was flattened by the jetty, or Yeti. Jetty? Jetty. When a sudden wind blew her sideways. The attempt was abandoned.
And everybody knows Nessie ain't into a flat bottom.
This
Likes
is
a little
true.
junk in a trunk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like- yeah. And
knows that.
and Nessie prefers it not to sound like another male.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
a good point.
Yeah.
Of a different species.
Of a different species.
Now he's like,
Yeah.
oh man, what is up with that drag over there? It's like, I'm just not into that.
It's like,
It was an interspecial cross-dresser.
oh man, when are people just not gonna get that? I don't want to be tied down.
Yeah.
He's like, hey man, I'm in this bird you cannot chain. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man. However, the Loch Ness Monster is not as unique as it seems. Reports of similar creatures have come from other lochs in West Highlands. Nessie provides us with an enduring mystery, and in the 21st century, where there is an explanation for everything, except there's not. Like, do you know how many mysteries there are in science?
No.
It is pleasing to think there are still mysteries like the Loch Ness Monster. Indeed, the most recent sighting was in May 2007 when Gordon Holmes, this person puts everything in quotations. The most recent sighting was in May 2007 when Gordon Holmes, a lab technician, took a video of what he described as this jet black thing about 45 feet long, moving fairly fast in the water. The video was broadcast by BBC Scotland and on STV's North Tonight program. The credibility of the video has, however, come into question amongst other concerns. The video does not include any objects or features by which the size of the thing can be measured.
How close were these other lakes? Because part of me, well, because imagine if like the underground caverns originally, like a long, long time ago, connected to these other lakes, and that's why they were able to like go back and forth. But then it caved in.
Basically,
and that's how
underwater
Nessie
canals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of lochs in Scotland.
Yes, there are. Yes.
So let's see here.
With the best names.
Loch Lomond, Loch Rusky, Loch Tay, Loch Tumul.
This one also has a monster, supposedly.
Which one? Marie?
It's Loch something with an M. Also has a monster.
Loch Oik.
It just does not want to load with these.
It doesn't want to load at all.
I'm surprised Loch Ness
There,
isn't
yes,
one of
many,
the main ones
many
that pops
of
up.
them. Yes, many of them are actually very, very close to each other.
I need to know where Loch
And-
Ness is now for this to confirm or deny my theory.
That's the one that supposedly has a monster.
Loch Morar.
Yeah.
I can see that. It's close to the ocean.
Yeah.
Loch
one
Lochy.
supposedly also
There's
has
Loch
something.
Lochy.
Loch Lochy.
Loch Lochy. Loch Lochy. I cannot find Loch Ness.
It's not there. Actually, the actual Loch Ness is a myth.
There is
There is no Loch Ness.
You've been punked.
Ah, that's the conspiracy.
That it is.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, a lot of these lochs are they're very close together. So
Can
you could
look up
could
Loch Ness?
easily.
I need to know where it is now.
Whoa!
I don't think it's
whoa,
there.
whoa, whoa,
That's
whoa,
the-
whoa,
that's
whoa,
the
whoa.
ocean.
That's the ocean.
You just got blue screened.
All right.
So wait, now you said there was an update to this conspiracy. So what's
Yes.
the
Yes.
update?
Is it another
you want me to-
gynecologist? Because I thought last time we discovered that a gynecologist was
That
hired
was the
to-
science. That was
That was the one
was
from
the
1933.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Or
That was yeah.
1934.
I like how in this they referred to him
Loch
as just like
Ness.
a lab technician or something.
Yes. So Loch Ness is very long.
Yes.
And it is.
Yeah, look at that.
So it's further south from where
It's
we were looking.
much further
So
south.
we probably could have seen it
Yes.
if you scrolled.
All right. So
Ooh, yeah, and it's
Oh,
almost
is this
on,
about the DNA they found?
yes.
Yes.
So this comes from Fox News. Loch Ness monster. More quotations. Might be real, according to new scientific study. A major scientific study of Loch Ness has sensationally discovered Nessie might be real. Experts travel the length of the famous loch on research vessel Deep Scan, taking water samples from the 3 different depths. The scientists collected DNA left by all creatures from their skin, scales, feathers, fur, and feces. Their poop. The DNA samples were then sent to labs in New Zealand, Australia, Denmark, and France to be analyzed for the final findings. Professor Neil Gemmell of the University of yeah, you got poop here. That's what you got. Yeah, thanks.
Everyone in the
thanks.
Yeah! Confirmation!
Yeah,
Feces Day!
Feces Day.
They
Oh,
celebrate
like
these
when it
things
comes
lab.
in,
Yeah.
they're like, "Wait, today's Feces Day." Ugh.
That means barbecue.
Yeah. Professor Neil Gemmell of the University of Otago, New Zealand, and his team who carried out the project have now concluded their research. The professor, an expert in genomics, ecology, population, conservation, and evolutionary biology, now says the results were surprising. More quotations. He says they tested the data against most of the main theories about the Loch Ness monster. The Professor Gemmell says while the full details will be released at a later stage, one of the theories might be correct. 2 main theories about the monster are it is a long-necked plesiosaur that somehow survived the period when dinosaurs became extinct, or it is a sturgeon or giant catfish. Professor Gemmell said he hoped to announce the full findings of the study in Scotland next month, but would not confirm which hypothesis might be right. He said, quote, "Is there anything deeply mysterious? It depends what you believe. Is there anything startling?
Please
There
tell
are
me
a
the
few-
is in there.
It is.
Oh, it totally is.
There are a few things that are a bit surprising. What we'll have achieved is what we set out to do, which is document the biodiversity of Loch Ness in June 2018 in some level of detail. We've tested each one of the main monster hypotheses, and 3 of them we can completely say are right, and 1 of them might be."
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
3 of them are right, and 1 might be. How can you have 4
Interesting.
possible answers?
Yeah.
I mean, you can always
It
have
was-
a couple answers that are asking different questions.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It was hoped the study's findings would be published earlier this year, but a series of failed attempts to find a television documentary delayed the process.
Just publish the damn.
Publish it.
You don't need to do
Seriously.
it.
Gotta make
Yeah.
money.
on the website.
Negotiations with a series of production companies ended without a deal. Who would not take this deal? Hundreds of thousands of visitors flock to Loch Ness every year to try and catch a glimpse of the mythical monster. Nessie is worth millions of pounds to the Scottish economy. And tourist bosses previously said they are eagerly anticipating the results, or maybe not so eagerly. If it ends up like there really is no proof for Nessie,
Right.
then I mean, your tourism.
I was going to say,
stop.
yeah. I was gonna
people
say,
will still
I highly
yeah.
doubt that any. Well, yeah, because then they would just be, well, we still haven't found it yet.
Well,
We
that
just haven't
and
found it
I
yet.
mean, it's a conspiracy. People will start going, well, it's a conspiracy. That's why they're saying
Yes.
it doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
And
I'll say at
in,
this
in
point-
true, yeah. What were you gonna say?
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
I was
no,
just
no,
saying,
yeah.
at this point, even if they were to, if the government flat out came out and was like, listen, it's not real, it's a swan, let's say.
It's a giant
It's a really
swan.
big, scaly swan. People would be
With
like,
blurring.
you just haven't found it yet. Or, yeah, they will think it's a conspiracy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and in true conspiracy fashion, you can claim anything because, so for instance, you can claim that Nessie is interdimensional. Maybe. Why not? I mean, there's nothing proving she isn't, and that's the point. Is that you can't prove that it's not real. In the same way that you can't prove the simulation theory isn't real.
Yep.
You can't, or isn't real. If you stretch your conspiracy theory enough, you can basically protect it from any sort of scrutiny.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is still sticking in my mind because we looked at the map of Loch Ness.
Mm-hmm.
My original thought of the traveling to different lakes,
Locks.
if you the different if you look at it, it could potentially be that because it's a direct line of locks that go from ocean to ocean.
Yes,
It could
is.
have been
Yeah.
like a kind of a canal that they
maybe
went
it did get
through.
trapped.
Absolutely.
And it got
Absolutely.
trapped in there. And that's actually why it's such a deep lock.
Yes.
And it survived because it was so far down. And maybe it was a young one that it was small enough to avoid everything. But
Well, no,
it
that's just
caused
the
cavemen,
that's just
and
the.
it got stuck and
That's
evolved.
just the beginning of like a really sad story.
I know.
Nessie gets separated from her mommy.
That's like
Copyrighted.
Land of the Lost.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like that,
That's really sad. I don't want to think about that. I don't want to
Land
think about.
Before Time, that's
I
what
don't
I
want to
meant.
think.
Okay,
I don't.
sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to think about Nessie like alone.
Yeah, just like calling out to her mother who's out
Right.
in the ocean.
And then yeah, what?
I'm writing a
Or
movie.
it's still
Yes.
like there are still pathways for it to get out. And this is the only one that's size is capable of getting to the lock. That's why sometimes they would not be able to find it because it goes out into the ocean. The ocean's big enough that you can't find it.
And then every now and then
And
it
then
comes
it
back
go-
just to screw with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe that's just where.
I'm gonna go
yeah,
mess with that one guy who took a picture of that one.
Yeah.
guy.
All right, I got my blurs.
Or
on.
the lock is
Let's-
just. Or the lock is like its mating ground, but
Or
it's never
something like that.
successful.
It's kinda like,
until that one time that these guys like
Brought out, like,
brought
right,
out
yeah,
a
yeah.
Or
fake
if it's like,
Nessie.
What is it? Salmon or trout that always find their
Yeah,
original
like
river.
return, yeah.
Yeah.
I only
Yeah.
know that because of Futurama. Thank
Right.
you.
So I mean, ultimately, so there's maybe possibly some proof that Nessie might exist.
Or some form of
And that-
Nessie.
or
Maybe
some
not
form of
is
Nessie,
who
yeah.
Everyone thinks it is.
And there are, many different theories as to what Nessie is. Maybe an elephant. That's actually the first time I've ever heard that theory that it could have been an elephant.
Just walking
Yeah.
along. And
Yeah.
the guy was like, holy
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah, and then you have the circus owner basically saying like, if you could find proof of Nessie, I'll give you the equivalent of what was it, $20 million.
Yeah.
And then the guy
$2 million.
the guy that let the elephant, he's like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have taken that
No,
picture.
no. I
did
think
it on
no.
purpose.
Yeah, he did it on purpose.
It brought people into the.
It brought people in. He's like, I'm never giving them $2 million. Like, they're not going to
He's like,
find
doesn't
anything.
even
Oh,
have
you're
2
saying
million.
the
Doesn't
guy
even
with
have
the
2
$2
million.
million.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Or
That would be
20,000 at the time, whatever.
20,000 pounds.
20,000
yeah,
pounds.
was equal to $2
$2
million
million.
today.
No, I
Yeah.
said 2 million pounds.
$2 million today.
Which
$2 million
is
pounds today.
Yeah, well,
about 3 million.
yeah.
Is it really?
If
I don't know
the-
about the conversion. So.
I think it's still 1.5-ish. Brexit's kind of screwing that.
Sure. Anyway, any other thoughts on Nessie and Loch Ness? You've done some more research. So
Yeah, I
what
wanna-
are your-
yeah, bro,
What
since
is
you
what is
have
the script?
researched,
Yeah,
I wanna hear this.
Yeah, what's the script writer's thoughts on?
Well, I
on
mean-
Nessie.
The way I feel about Loch Ness is the way I feel about anything else. I'm not saying it definitely there is a creature in there. I'm not saying there isn't, because I'm a big believer in there are many things that we
Yeah.
just don't know about yet.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Sure,
Yeah.
I am a big believer in that. So, I mean, who's to say it isn't some prehistoric creature that manages to get in there because of these tunnels or things like that? A lot of the theories are it's I like some people are just like, I was a big otter.
A big.
It was like
otter.
just a big otter that the guy saw going across the street. It's like, how do you not know what an otter is though? Like, I know it was 1933, but still,
Right.
you got to know what an otter
Yeah.
is.
I could
They
see.
do.
I could see the theory of a very large
Yeah.
version of something that already exists. Because I
Right.
mean that does happen. You find
Right.
like the
Right.
gigantism situations.
Right, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So maybe it was some sort of weirdly shaped
Overgrown.
otter.
Right.
But everyone's like, it's either an otter or some people are like, oh, it's this type of bird that is around there. And like, people, and especially now they're like, well, because people want to see the Loch Ness Monster, they're going to see the Loch Ness Monster.
It's
in what
the
they see.
influence where
Yeah, yeah.
you see what you want.
It's
to see kind of
confirmation
thing.
bias.
Yeah, and then some people
basically.
think
Yeah.
it's I guess there's it's a type of Scottish catfish that can get pretty big. So maybe it grew really large in the Loch Ness or,
And a trunk.
Yeah, in a trunk. Yeah, I was going to say. Well, no, but because there's no confirmation that that's
It's
what it
a
is.
trunk, yeah.
Because all of those photos have been proven.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the original photographer, the
be
gynecologist, admitted that it was a hoax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He whittled out some sort of thing and then just set it in the water. It was like,
Right.
this will get people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, it's,
it's
a
19
great practical joke.
It's
back then.
1930.
What else did they have to do?
That's what I'm going to say. I was just going to say
oh,
that.
yeah,
It's
TV.
1933 Scotland.
Yeah.
Like, what else are you going to do?
You just mess with your
You know?
friends.
You drink and you put wooden stuff and paper mache stuff like out in the
Exactly.
water.
I mean, let's be honest. It would be kind of hilarious to try and fool your friends with a
Yeah,
giant.
check out this picture.
Because like his
What is
friend
it?
lives
No,
on the
you tell
side
me.
of the loch.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, look what's in your backyard. You're screwed. You're gonna die. It's a monster."
What?
Well, you got to scare him. And
But then
he was
again,
like,
but does
"No,
that
he left?"
does that explain the interaction with St. Columbo's little lackey that he just his little gopher? Hey you,
Just swim across. Give me the boat.
Go give me the boat. That's not our boat. I don't care.
It is now.
God said we could have it.
God said we could have it.
No, he came to me in a vision. He said,
Yeah,
go get the boat.
You get Nessie swim. I love that story. It's like Nessie's like, oh, a guest.
Someone to play with. What's up? That's the real reason we can never find it, is because that one
That one
experience. Like,
time, yeah,
I don't want to risk that again.
I don't risk that again.
You
Yeah.
have such horrible flashbacks.
But I still love the paper mache.
Yes.
That's my favorite.
With his
Female
whole makeup.
Nessie with makeup.
I imagine that's what I'm
eyelashes.
saying.
Because-
I imagine they were sitting around the fire station.
Yeah.
And they were just like,
It's a very wet year.
all right. I figured it out.
There's no fires.
Nessie's a dude. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a female Nessie.
I love when you go into the accents.
We're gonna make a female Nessie. Now we really want to lure him in, so we'll put eyelashes on it, some lipstick, maybe a frilly dress. We gotta really pique his interest.
But you can't forget the recording.
Oh, right. We gotta get us a mating call.
Oh man.
And they didn't have access to the internet. Where did they
yeah.
get the mating call from?
I have no idea.
Found a walrus. I think that's a female.
Yeah, they-
It's the same trunk guy.
All right, that one's definitely a female.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Got it. Oh man.
Oh my god. I actually, honestly, now that I've seen the line, I'm actually convincing myself that that's what it was. It was a canal that a creature of some sort was traveling through.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yes. But I also
I
have to say
still-
only in Scotland.
Only a Scotland.
Only in Scotland.
I
Oh,
apologize to
man.
all our Scottish viewers.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't apologize. The Scottish aren't offended.
That's
Are you
true.
kidding me?
That's true. There's one drunk Scot guy going, he doesn't need to sound like us.
Oh man. Okay, so what do you think about the Loch Ness Monster now that we have potential evidence that it might be real that they're just not releasing?
Hey.
I think that is shady to me.
Well, they want to make it big deals, probably.
Either
Right.
that, or they want to do the maybe they did find proof, but they know everyone's a skeptic, that they're like, okay, we need to make sure that what we have is correct. Because let's be
Yes.
honest, if you come out and you say we have proof and someone discredits you, you're done.
Yeah.
You're never gonna have.
Well,
they've run into that.
reliability.
Actually, some people have been like, "Oh no, I have an actual, like I saw it." all right, okay, that time I saw it before, yeah, that was a hoax. But this time,
Exactly.
I have definitely
Well,
seen it.
and-
Like, there is actually a precedent for that. So
Right. And I was talking to Benny about this. You know, how serendipitous would it be that this thing that turned out to actually be a hoax was in fact real?
I know, right?
It's like the lie that becomes the truth.
Yeah.
right.
You know?
The paper mache actually evolved over time into Nessie.
Well, it happened-
And now we have the legit Nessie.
The actual Nessie.
Yeah.
Well, there was that.
It's got eyelashes.
Actually,
and
a
full makeup.
catfish got stuck in the paper mache.
Well, so
Yeah.
it's funny. So it's funny because there was supposed like proof they found it. It was like a photograph, an underwater photograph
Yeah.
of Nessie. It turns out that was actually the prop they used for a Loch Ness movie.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
They were like,
We
Yeah.
found it. Oh wait, that was from that movie.
That's from that movie.
I just it looks so familiar. It's like, whoops, my bad. It's great on camera. That's so
Oh,
weird.
man.
Such a good shot.
So we've determined that Nessie is, if Nessie is real,
It's a dude.
it's a
It's
dude.
a dude, apparently.
Nessie is a dude.
That is not into male walruses.
okay.
true.
That just no cross dressing for Nessie.
Yeah.
He's not into that. He's just
what
not
they're
into
into.
that kind of thing.
It's fine.
Nessie's a dude.
Yes.
Not into male walruses.
Nope.
He's blurry.
True.
Blur
Natural
camouflage.
camouflage.
Natural
What,
camouflage.
actually, what if that was actually a thing where it was actually it just reflected light in a way that it kind of had that
Yeah.
kind of heat,
Yeah,
like heat.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
That,
Yeah.
That is a thing in nature, like actual natural camouflage.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's not necessarily.
You never know.
Or he like has like tiny hairs that just kind of poof up. And,
Yeah,
like,
there
makes
you
him
go.
a little blurry.
And they wave in the wind.
Yeah, exactly. And what else have we learned? That Nessie is possibly an ancient dinosaur.
An ancient as opposed to the
living.
modern dinosaur.
There are modern dinosaurs. They're called
Yeah, I know
alligators.
That-
Actually, not wrong.
This is true.
So
birds.
yeah, birds.
are technically-
They're reptiles. So Nessie, if you're watching this, could you just
Run.
run? Yeah.
Nessie's under there with like a TV and a laptop.
Someone dropped their smartphone. Nessie's underwater.
No, they're talking
The
about that.
battery's going down. Where's my
Yeah.
charger?
Yeah.
That's when she comes out across the road.
Why did Nessie cross the road to get a phone charger?
To get a phone charge.
She was out of juice.
Oh, Nessie. So let us know what you think in the comment section below. Do you believe Nessie is real? Do you believe he or she is not real, or that it's just some kind of creature that we just haven't learned what it is yet? We have no category for it yet, which has happened with a lot of animals and creatures in the past.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now it's just normal. So the tourism for Nessie may die off someday when we discover that Nessie is really just a
Paper mache.
normal thing.
Oh.
Yeah, just a normal
People
thing.
will still show up.
Now the other lock down the road. That's
Locky back there.
yeah. When Nessie gets officially disproven or proven, and it just becomes a normal
Yep.
scientific fact, that's when they'll jump in.
So we got like
Yeah.
8 other locks that have
Yeah.
8 other monsters,
Yes.
so we're fine.
The Locky monster. Locky. That's fun to say. I need to quit. We need to turn this off. All right. So where can they find you guys? Yeah.
I was
come
trying
on.
to get in there to be you for once.
Oh, okay.
You can find me at twitch.tv/DanTStreamer or on Instagram or Twitter at DanTProducer. You can find Gary on Twitter, I think Instagram. Twitter and YouTube at Film Circuit.
Yes.
And Instagram at Northward Films.
Yes, you're still my friend. Good job.
And you can find Andy on Instagram at For I Am the Andy.
Yes. And join us next time when we talk about... What should we talk about next week? You know what? We're going to talk about Chupacabra again because we haven't talked about Chupacabra in a long...
I don't think we've
we're
done
gonna,
it on the
we're
main
gonna,
channel
We
either.
haven't done it on the main channel. We need to continue with these cryptids.
Yeah.
I like it. I've been on a cryptid.
Yeah.
At the end, we're all going to
And we're all...
cryptozoologists.
Yes, cryptozoologists. We're all going to get certificates. I'm going to print us out certificates.
Please do.
$5 online and become an official cryptozoologist.
We should
I'm going to start a website.
figure out some local cryptids? Is that what they're
Cryptids.
called?
Cryptids. Yes. Actually, yes. Next week, we will be talking about local Colorado cryptids. Bigfoot is probably one of them.
Probably.
I would
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for watching.